So what is the effect of the measurement site on the PPG waveform? Now, this was a study that assessed the amplitude of PPG across multiple sites, and it was done at the finger, the wrist, on both the dorsal and the volar aspect of the arm, earlobes, and the forehead. And you could see at least the finger has the greatest intensity or amplitude of the PPG. And the wrist, particularly at the dorsum, where the watch is awfully located, has a very diminished amplitude. And you could see that in both sort of normal breathing and deep breathing. But I just want you to note that this study used a reflectance near infrared light PPG, not the green or blue light PPG. So you can't necessarily, extrapolate this to the PPG signals that you get in the watches. But I wanted to also show you sort of the normalized, sort of the waveform differences between these different site locations. And this is the normalized average of the PPG across the sites. And you could see that the finger peak is sharper, while the wrist and forehead, it's a little hard to see here, but the forehead, I think, is in gray, and the wrist in green tends to be sort of wider and broader. And the difference between these locations and the appearance of the waveforms can be attributed to the finger being much more sort of vascular. There's more densely packed arterioles and capillaries in the fingers. They also have arteriovenous anastomosis. It is predominantly arteriolar at the surface and less venous. And this is important because, at least in the wrist, you have much more of a venous component. And the variation in the venous pulses causes that wandering baseline that's associated with respiration. And so actually the wrist watch, the wrist location may actually be better to detect respiratory rate than the finger is, because the finger doesn't have that venous component as much. The other component is that the fingers, the vasculature has a very rich innervation of alpha anergic nerves and receptors. And so it can be sensitive to sympathetic nerve system activity and also temperature as well.